I'm sure if you are a fan of Imperial Fist, by now you will have seen the teaser on the roadmap. If not, here it is. Beautiful editing. This month is quite busy for me. I've got a few events on and I've got quite a lot of work. So today, the video is going to be a bit different. I'm going to be pottering, tidying up, doing some bits and pieces, bringing you along and doing the bit talking. And the spare few little bit time I do get, I'm painting up a set of Terminators in the scheme that I showed you in the last video. So if you are interested how I paint my Imperial Fists, head back to the last video. But most importantly, I'm going to talk about what I want from the new Codex, supplement, whatever it's ended up being and or being called. Yeah? Did I just finish his intro? Yeah? My name is BeardedFist. You can hear I've got a cold. Welcome in. Grab a cuppa, whatever you like to drink. Let's chat Warhammer.
Future editing me here. As you can probably tell in this video, I was very sick. Turns out I was battling COVID, but I didn't have time to film anything else, so this is the video you're getting for the month. So apologies for that if my energy doesn't seem in the video. I'm very passionate about what I was talking about, and I'm very much looking forward to the Codex dropping later, hopefully this summer. I'll see you later on, but again, thank you for bearing with us this video. Thank you for watching. Let's continue the hobby together and have a wonderful week.
I think Connie wanted to say hello as well while I'm pottering. You coming to say hello, wee one? Please don't claw me. Realistically, she just wants to go outside. So I want to preface this intro here. I haven't watched any leaks. I definitely do not have anybody, any contact in Games Workshop. I mean, I know my local store people. Anything I talk about today is purely what I want. If it somehow magically turns around and becomes true, which it more than likely 100% isn't, it was pure speculation and a pure guess on my part. The way this video is going to be structured is we're going to look at 3 wishes from the new Codex. Firstly, I'm going to talk about a model I want to see. Something that I think would be cool, something that's not going to happen, but something I'd like anyways. Secondly, I'm going to talk about an army rule that isn't Oath and Moment. I know chances are they are going to get Oath and Moment, and then it'll be detachment rules. But I just thought if I'm throwing a wish out in the world, I may as well throw a decent one. And finally, we're going to chat through a detachment I'd like to see. That one might be probably the most interesting bit, and the one that I think potentially might actually happen. Not necessarily the way I describe it, but a detachment I think will be there. And look, also there's a good chance that between now and this video being released that there might have been a reveal show. In that reveal show, they might have talked about Imperial Fists. I don't have time to make another video this month, so it's going to go out anyways. These will change from what I wish we were getting to what I wish we had instead. Might not be instead. Games Workshop are kind of fucking good at what they do. Probably better than what I wanted. Also, almost immediately with the first one, I'm going to be cheating. I said a model. What I would love but isn't going to happen is a Dreadnought Rogue Dawn. Not the tank, the actual Gadget. I saw someone do a concept art on Reddit. If I can find it, I'll link it. And it looked fucking incredible. I know it would probably be about the sizes of like a knight. I don't care. It's cool, especially with the Saturnine Dreadnought armor coming back. Put a roll on that, give them the Emperor's Gauntlets. Not happening. And I ain't just being a genie here. I want to do wishes that potentially might come true. And since I'm in the mode of cheating, what do I actually think we're going to get? I actually think we're going to get a re-release of Darneth Lysander Primaris size is what I believe we're going to get. I think that'll be a whole lot. I'm not going to be disappointed with Darneth Lysander. I'm good at remembering scripts. I'm not that good. His rules are absolutely fucking sick. So he is, like all Terminators, T5, but his wounds 6. He also has a 4-up invul, like the other Terminators. He doesn't actually have any ranged attacks, weirdly. He's a bit like the Chaplain, but he does have a unbelievable weapon. So unlike a Chaplain, he has something called a Fist of Dawn, which is like a big fuck-off hammer. And that hammer gets 5 attacks, hitting on 2s. So you know you're rolling 3 1s, but it does hit on 2s. Strength 10, minus 3 AP, and damage 3. Just flat damage 3. Absolutely insane. It also has devastating wounds. Just add on top of that, just a sprinkle on top. So the weapons are pretty strong once you get him into melee. Also, when he's in charge of a Terminator unit, that unit is -1 to wound if the weapon shooting at it is greater than that unit's toughness, which there seems to be quite a lot of that going around at the minute. So even if you've got a weapon that's double the toughness of Terminators, it's still going to be wounding on 3s. Hopefully, that'll make a big difference in your squad. It definitely will across multiple games. And once per battle, he has an ability that he pops that gives him a 2-up invul save for that whole turn as well. Again, that means you're going to only be rolling 1s, but it's nice that it's there. And why I think we are definitely getting a version of him, he's fine cast, you can't buy him, he's expensive to buy in the second-hand market, and Fourthly, he gives Terminators OC2 as long as they're not a character unit. With every other chapter that doesn't have its own supplement, they seem to have provided a character with that, and that character is regularly available, or if it hasn't been, they've re-released it. Darth Lysander is one of the last ones, so I think they will re-release him from Finecast into plastic, Primara size, and that is going to be whack. Personally, I think that's what we're getting. What do I want? I want a 3-man squad in the sort of aggressor Gravis armor. I want them to have storm shields and bolters. Not necessarily storm shields, more like breacher shields, a bit like in 30k. They have a shield, so they should have a 4-up invul. And I think they should have one of 2 abilities that I've thought up in my wee little head. The first of said abilities, I think, should be get behind me. If you are within 3 inches of that squad can enact the get behind me rule. All that means is any shots coming towards that squad deflect onto the Gravis breachers. I don't know what you're going to call them. That can only be used once per turn and for one squad. Yeah, I think it's quite a good rule. I think it's fun. It's a bit heroic. It's why I think we should only come in squads of 3 with a 4-up invul. And the second rule, I think, hunker down rule. So that's where they get behind their shields. The invul might drop to say 3, or you might get to reroll 1s, or reroll fail saves once, whatever the case is. And when you do that, the next movement phase, they cannot move. They are behind the shields, have took some fire, they're like braced, the servos are locked, whatever the case is. They can't move. Try and balance that rule a little bit. Points wise, obviously in game, that unit would be fucking insane. Chances are, if it was to release, points wise, it would be about the same price as Terminators, if not more. Which is a lot of units, which would make them competitively unviable, chances are, and not many people will take them. But having a big, superior, tough unit with a 4-up invul going on to objectives is a fun unit. Do I think that's going to happen? No. A boy can dream. Secondly, I think we should talk about army rule. Now, I know most likely they're going to share it all at the moment, but it's going to be the shit version that you don't get a +1 to wound. It is what it is. But again, let's talk about what do I want. In the law, Imperial Fist specialise in fortifying positions. One of the main things that they specialise in, hence why they're the defenders of terror. And I don't think that's represented very well on the tabletop. So this is where I'd try to look at some fluff to make them represented better on the tabletop. In case you aren't aware, the current Anvil Siege Force that represents Imperial Fist is every weapon gets heavy in the whole army. That's if you stand still, you get +1 to hit. Now, if you've already got heavy, you also get +1 to wound if you stand still. Now, an army standing still in a game that's about moving forward and taking objectives, not just killing everything, isn't that good. So the detachment has struggled. Because of that, I think what we need to do for the army rule is make it around fortifying a location. What I would personally do is if an Imperial Fist unit is wholly within an objective marker, that's every single one of the bases is wholly onto an objective marker. That objective marker is fortified. Fortified, what it might give you, it might add toughness, it might give you the benefit of cover, it might let you re-roll some of your saves. I'm not 100% on the rule here, but I do think it needs to be something like that. Whether it's fortified a terrain piece, whether it's fortifying a objective marker, whatever the case is, I do think we need something that is fortified. Now, these benefits wouldn't carry over into melee, purely from shooting, because you can't be in cover from a sword. I mean, technically, I suppose you could, but not in the way that I'm thinking. It also allows for counterplay. So not only do I feel like this represents the Imperial Fist better on the tabletop, I also think it's a genuinely more interesting rule than Anvil Siege Force. Who are you talking to? And it adds a unique flavour to Imperial Fist that no other army currently has in the game. Maybe getting extra toughness is overboard, but I'm not the balance team. That's the balance team to work out. But by God, I'd love it over the current Anvil Siege Force. Finally, I wanted to come up with a detachment that I think would be quite fun and play better than Anvil Siege Force. Now, with Darth Lysander given the +2 OC to Terminators, I genuinely think whatever Imperial Fist get, it's probably going to replace First Company Task Force, the current sort of Terminatory detachment in the Space Marine Codex. With that in mind, I've come up with a Wall of Peers. I'm not very good at naming things. Also, apologies for me voice, by the way. Sounds like I've smoked 20 a day. And this detachment would very much focus on Terminators. In this detachment, I would make Terminators battle line, and stratagems would also mainly be based around Terminators as well. An example for like an enhancement that might be used for Terminators here, Ceramite Wall. It would have the stipulation of Terminator character only. Terminator character only. When this character is leading a unit, again, you always seem to have those words, limited to a 5-man squad, they must start in deep strike and cannot deep strike until turn 3. This unit can deep strike directly onto an objective as long as it is 6 inches away from an enemy unit, and this unit has a 3+ invul but cannot move off the objective. Really playing into, you are dropping here and you are holding that line. Again, I think something like that probably is too powerful, but we're going for fluff here. I'm going for something I'd like to win a lot of games, which I know is probably not the attitude to come out with, but I would like to win games. And this is just a way of dropping a unit on. You can sort of ignore one side of the board, drop that unit on, and hope for the best. The reason I don't think it's actually too powerful is there is counterplay to that. As long as there is an enemy unit 6 inches within an objective or on an objective, you cannot deploy that Terminator squad. It's very specific in turn 3. So you have to plan ahead for that. Not only do you have to plan ahead for that, your enemy can also plan ahead for that as well, preventing you from even being able to use a whole unit. So I think there is counterplay there, making it potentially not too overpowered, maybe. An example stratagem that I came up with as well, 1 CP, you've got hold the line. So a Terminator unit that is within engagement range of an enemy unit, or has destroyed an enemy unit at the end of a fight phase, that Terminator unit can make a normal move or a fallback move of 5 inches, as long as that unit ends that move wholly within range of an objective marker. Again, this is something where you might want to use it, jump off an objective marker, power fist, punch the fuck out of a whole unit, and then you might want to take a step back. The way I sort of envision it, the fluff in my head is someone's step forward, they've took down an enemy, and then they're coming back and holding the line. They're showing that Imperial Fist discipline in order to win the day. Again, not too sure if it's too powerful. Both things are probably too powerful, but both things are fucking sick, and they would be really fun to play on the tabletop. And it does add a bit of flavour back into the Imperial Fist faction. And I do think sort of the main issue and why something like that might not happen is because it's going to replace Anvil Siege Force, but it's also going to replace the First Company Task Force. So you're replacing 2 detachments there for sort of 2 different other chapters, but 1 chapter and another chapter. My wishes are probably not reality, and Games Workshop will do what Games Workshop are going to do. Now, you've seen us, hopefully, depending on time, painting up these Terminators to a decent standard in the B-roll, and I'm going to do a bit of a reveal at the end. No matter what state they're in, they might still be pink. No matter what state they're in, I'm going to do a bit of a reveal at the end. If you want to see how they were painted, or you want a guide on how they were painted, pop along to my last video where I painted the Lieutenant with Combi Bolter. And time is a crunch this month, so thank you all for watching. I do appreciate this video's been a bit different. Let me know what you want from an Imperial Fist Codex, supplement, new Space Marines Codex, whatever it is. Please let me know. I'm dying to hear whatever it ends up being. Enjoy the Terminators, and let's continue to hobby together.